Hey everyone, welcome to the Lego Machine Community Podcast, where we talk to veteran Lego machine builders about themselves, what they're up to, and about the community. So I'm your host Mika, also known as TurtleLegoProductions, and we're here with Collin from Amazing Creations. He created his channel on April 23rd, 2013, and mainly uploads vending machines and arcade games. So Collin, how are you doing?
I'm pretty good, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, let's just jump right into the questions. So, first question is, when did you get started and why?
I started in April of 2013. I had been watching like Lego, other Lego genre on YouTube, and eventually came across, I think it was ElectryDragonite or AstonishingStudios. Saw what they were doing. I thought that was awesome, and I had been collecting Lego for years, so I had no shortage of it. So I built a few small machines, not the ones that you saw, not my first machine, but I built a few before that, sent them to a few friends, and they all loved it. And I'm like, okay, I guess I might as well film it. So I did, and then almost 7.5 years later, here we are.
It's crazy how long we've been in the community for.
I know, it's
I
madness.
feel like most people have started off with Astonishing Studios and ElectryDragonite. I guess maybe because they're some of the most popular, but I feel like that's where most people have come to the community for.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right. Second question is, how do you come up with your machines? I've seen like your arcade games, your vending machines, and like the designs and stuff are like really cool, and uh, it's quite different from other people's designs. So kind of wondering how you do that.
I don't actually do that much planning beforehand. I usually just dive in. I take inspiration from others on YouTube, of course, but also real life. I'll do some scouring on YouTube and online to see what others, what real vending machines and arcade machines are in real life. And if it's something that I think is feasible in Lego, I usually just start sketching it out and eventually reach a point where I can start building it. And as far as designs, I kind of just wing it. I kind of have a general theme around the brand, but as far as the particular elements, it's really on the spot.
Oh, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So it's kind of similar to me. I'd usually just like do whatever designs. But then the firefighting arcade game that I made, it's like one of the first machines that I actually like looked at designs for, as what I can remember. So that game is actually based on arcade game called Wacky Ducks, I think. And you just like there's like
Yes.
a yeah, there's like the rubber ducks, and then you punch them with a uh, boxing glove. So I got that idea from there, and it kind of just evolved into firefighting arcade game.
Yeah, that was always one of my favorites at Chuck E. Cheese, the
Oh
little
yeah.
duck game.
Now, third question is, do you have any builders that have inspired you over the years?
As I said, Astonishing Studios, ElectryDragonite, those are the big guys, and I'm sure as you interview more people, you're going to hear a lot of people say that.
Yeah.
But I think they're the oldest and they've been around longest. But there's also a lot of small creators today. We're seeing a lot of small creators come up with fabulous machines and great concepts that even older people like me would never think of. So I can definitely take inspiration from creators of all sizes.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed with a few of the small creators, like some of the mechanisms they've made is just like mind blowing. Like I have
I
no idea
know.
how they do it. They've only been here for like 2 years, and they're doing these insane mechanisms that like how the heck would you ever think of that?
I know. Like when I was their size and that age, like I was not thinking about that at that level of complexity. It's incredible.
I think like the most mechanisms at the time and kind of still are just like the push and pull mechanism or the locking arm mechanism. Like those were the go-to mechanisms. And like if someone else made a new mechanism, it's like, whoa, that's cool. But like no one would ever like take up on that. But like there's a lot more of that going around in the community. So it's really cool to see.
Yeah.
Fourth question. Uh, what's your favorite machine in the community?
Hmm. Favorite machine in the community? That's difficult. I think it would probably be Astonishing Studios' his latest one, the McDonald's automation one.
Oh yeah.
Because that was just so innovative in its just overall design. And I also loved about that video is he really took a different approach in the overall video production, where like the machine sort of took less of a stance, and it was more, he had a lot of live action. And I really admired that the ability to be flexible, because like we see so much similarity between machines and videos, especially since we've been doing this for so long. So I definitely appreciate his ability to innovate machine-wise and also video-wise. So yeah, that McDonald's one is definitely my current favorite, but it might be dethroned.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate his new take on video production. Like in the old days, like you just put some music on and just cut to the beat, and that's all you went for like up until like last year. Probably just kept doing that same stuff. But then when you get voiceovers and these new video styles, it just adds a whole new element to it all.
Yeah, I think it definitely also appeals to a larger audience on YouTube, like a more broader audience. And overall, I think that's what has led to their channel's success.
Yeah, definitely. All right. 5th question is, what do you struggle with the most when building machines?
I guess with building machines, I guess I don't really struggle with actually constructing the machine. I guess my one thing would be like just finding the energy just to finally finish it off. Because once I have a somewhat finished product, I'm super proud of it. I can step back and say, I'm finished, but I'm really not. So getting that final push to finally finalize it, I think would be my biggest struggle, especially in the last few years, where my interest in Lego is sort of shifting, where there's less of a drive, not that I don't enjoy it still, but there's less of a drive to reach that end goal. So yeah, I think getting the motivation to finish it would be my one struggle area.
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge. Like when people outside of the community think of Lego, like Lego machines, they're like, oh, they're just like, it's just kids' toys, whatever. You're just building whatever. But like, there's so much planning and thought that goes into these machines. And like for me personally, it's been really stressful these past few years to think of these machines and like think of new ideas and mechanisms and designs and everything. It's been a real hassle. But like I respect people that just keep on going and keep on doing it for so many years. And you're still going at it after how many years? Like 7? You're still going strong.
Something ridiculous, something along those lines.
Mad props for that.
Yeah, there's definitely I guess an expectation to innovate with these new machines that are coming out, which are incredible, but there's always a constant struggle to want to do better than the last.
Yeah, for sure. All right. 6th question is, what is your favorite part of the community?
I think that would be like just knowing that there's other weirdos out there like me that love and enjoy this really niche area, because like Lego, it's a decently sized area on YouTube. Not that huge, but the fact that like it's not a very large community, but it's a really intimate one. You started the Discord a few years back, and that was really awesome. And I think it has connected us weirdos together in that sense.
Yeah. The community itself, it's in the name, Lego Machine Community. It's really a community, and apart from like other communities that are just like they're interested in the same topic, you don't really get to know too many people. But like this community is so tight knit, and like almost everyone knows each other or has talked to each other, and it definitely adds up a new like level of community to the word community. And there's definitely been some friendships that have developed over the years through this community, and will probably still go on even past Lego machine building.
For sure. Yeah, we've definitely seen an increase in community, and I think that's also resulted in a lot more collaborations and overall just growth in momentum and getting the small creators, because they're able to get to know each other and support each other and then collaborate with each other, which is something that I think was kind of absent in the early years. So overall, this community has really grown, and I think that can be attributed to the Discord and overall just the move to connect us builders together.
Yeah, I think in like the earlier years of the community, it was mostly just commenting on each other's videos. Everyone would watch each other and just comment and like, oh, cool machine, oh, thanks. And then I do remember there was a Skype group chat that a few builders, maybe like 12 or something, just a small amount, but like there wasn't too many people active in the community back in the day, like 2013, 14, 12, around that time. There's just some like larger mid-range people in the community, so we just like chat on the Skype group chat, and that was our community there. It's just like these 12 people, but there were still countless smaller creators and stuff. So I feel like I've been quite active in the community since I joined, and I kind of saw that there wasn't this like opportunity for people to know each other too well. So that's why I set up the Lego Machine community Discord server, so like we can have like as many people from the community as you can, new and old, to just come together and join and talk about all this community stuff.
Yeah, it was pretty shallow before, like we just commenting like cool design or whatever. But now, like what we're having right now, a face-to-face conversation is like would seem bizarre a few years ago. Like,
yeah.
So I think that's one of the greatest things about these later years is it's not just about the machine, it's about the creator and like the creative process. And I think that's one of the largest shifts that we've seen the past few years.
Yeah. Right. Moving on to the 7th question. Has machine building helped you in some area of life?
Short answer is yes. I think what it's really done is it's helped me advance my creative problem solving, because I can attribute, maybe not specifically this community, but I can attribute the stupid Lego brick to, because ultimately I want to go into architecture, and that's a pretty creative field. And I think what Lego has done, including this community, is it has sort of made me rethink my creative problem solving abilities, and it has made me realize how much I love the creative process. So I think if it weren't for the Lego machine community and Lego in general, that I think I would be stuck in a job that maybe less fulfilling, maybe higher paying, I don't know, but less fulfilling. So I can definitely thank this community in Lego for really reshaping the way I think about the creative process.
Do you have any lessons you've learned over the years while participating in the Lego machine community?
I think I'll play devil's advocate here with, people say, like, as soon as you're starting to get creatively burnt out, just quit, or, once the spark is gone, just pull the plug. And I would actually argue that that's not necessarily the case, because I think there's a certain point where you have to realize that you've moved on or you've grown out of the hobby, and that's totally fine. That's what a lot of people have done. But I think also part of the creative process is persevering through kind of creative dry patches. So I guess my one advice to be for potential creators, and even for people that have been here a while and are thinking about pulling the plug, is think about it long and hard. If this is something that you want to be done with, then do it. I don't want you to drive yourself crazy, miserable, but I'd also say that don't pull the plug so quickly. Keep at it for a little bit. and make a decision that is that you're totally sure on, basically.
Yeah, that reminds me of when Astonishing Studios took the brick fat break. I remember the name of that. He was going at it for so long, and he just needed a break. He was getting busy with life. He took like a few months off. Can't remember, like 4 months or something. This was like, I can't remember, like 4 years ago. It's been a while, but like everybody needs a break at some point. If you're going at this again, like I said, it's pretty stressful sometimes to build these machines. But people sometimes need a break sometimes. And usually people kind of get mixed up between, do I need a break or do I quit? Ultimately it's their decision, but kind of bouncing off your advice, I'd also just say, like, just take some time to think about it. Don't just be like, you're just burnt out and like, oh, I'm so done with this. I'll wait till like next week and I'll figure it out. No, just like take a few months off, figure it out, and eventually you might come back. You may decide not to build anymore. But if you keep your channel, you may get some spark again and start building. I've seen that happen to a few builders recently that have been gone for like two or more years, and they're coming back strong. So that's kind of what I'd also say, is just to take some time to think about it. All right, 9th question. What type of machine would you like to see someone make?
Good question. What's something I've wrestled with the idea with for a few years now is like refrigeration in machines. Like, I think ElectryDragonite, he had like an ice pack in the machine a few years back, and that was the closest we've ever gotten to some sort of refrigeration. So I would love to see something that keeps like beverages or something cold. We've seen like heat stuff, heat lamps. A matter of fact, I have a heat lamp in my machine right in front of me. But I think keeping items cold, some sort of refrigeration or frozen something rather, would be super cool.
Yeah. I kind of hinted at that idea with I think I copied the idea off of ElectryDragonite with my Coca-Cola machine. I actually had ice packs to cool the Coca-Cola. Yeah, it's definitely a feature that should be implemented into more machines to add some actual like realness to machines. Because like you're not gonna drink some like flat room temperature Coca-Cola. It's even though you're really just doing the video like just online, it's still really cool to see people actually trying to make something that's close to something that's in real life.
Yeah, and I think that coincides with like an overall movement to make the machines more user-friendly and like appeal more realistic to a vending machine you'd actually see in real life, with clear directions. Like Astonishing Studios had a touch screen in his latest one, which was super innovative. So yeah, cooling is the next step, but quite honestly, I don't know if we'll ever see anything along those lines.
Yeah. So what are you up to nowadays apart from Lego machines?
Well, right now, I'm certainly doing less machines. I can attribute that to, I guess, an overall decline in interest, not complete, but also just a lack of time. I'm doing a lot of extracurricular activities. I have a part-time actual job. So those definitely eat away at the actual hours. But I do try to pump a machine out, every month and a half or so. And currently I have a machine in front of me that I'm working on. So yeah, I try to be active when I can, but certainly less than a few years ago, but I do what I can.
Yeah. I feel most people when they're aging, they've got to move on from Lego machines eventually. Some people, I really wonder if like how many people will actually continue to do this for years to come at an old age. I have no idea, honestly, because this community is it's still pretty young. And there's like a new generation of builders moving in, and the old ones just starting to move out. So I wonder what the trend will be. But it's definitely true that like people do have other things in life that they need to do other than Lego machines, and eventually all good things must come to an end, but a lot of the Lego Machine has helped with like figuring stuff out in their life, and they may move on from Lego Machines to being an engineer or something.
Exactly.
So it really goes hand in hand with their future.
I think it's really impressive that there's people that can go from putting two pieces to some Lego brick together to going into like super high paying fields in engineering and other creative fields. So I think that's a super cool thing that going forward, you know, if the community dies or thrives, I don't think it really matters, because you'll see the success of its previous creators, and you can somewhat attribute their success to the community.
Yeah, for sure. All right, now we're going to the meat of the podcast here. So, what are your opinions on the past Lego Machine community?
The past community, I think we're in a better era. I think there was like it was more simplistic back in the day, and that's not necessarily a good or a bad thing. It was just more simple, and the YouTube landscape was very different. You had the ability to not post for months on end and come back, and everything would be back to normal, and you'd instantly have some level of success again. So, and YouTube hates our type of videos. They're short, but they don't have, it's a very niche audience, and the audience that you do attract to the video has to stay for most of the video in order for YouTube to pick it up. So I think the past community, we had that issue less, but it's not necessarily a bad thing that the algorithm is against us. It kind of forces us to innovate. It prevents videos from going stale, and concepts of machines from going stale, like, you know, like a coin pusher or something that we'd see all the time just wouldn't work today, because there's just not enough interest for that to succeed. So overall, I think it's better. We're seeing better machines, better communication between creators, but definitely the YouTube landscape has changed a lot.
Yeah. I think you answered quite into the current Lego Machine community, which would have been the next question. But do you want to add anything else to anything you'd like to add to the current community?
I think I'd just really say, I think it's really impressive that younger builders are able to conjure up machines that we would never ever think of 5 years ago or whatever. So I think that's something that's super cool. And as moving forward, machines are only going to get more complex, and the video quality is only going to rise. So I think the ability for younger creators to thrive and to create these incredible machines is something that I really admire about our current era in the community.
Yeah. And now for the future of the community. It's an open-ended question. Just have your own opinion on it. See what it looks like. Like to know your opinions on that.
Yeah. I think we're seeing some hints of what the future might be like, with more, I'd say, more friendly to the general viewer, more digestible for the viewer, where it's not just a machine on a white background with some EDM playing in the background. We're seeing the machine take less of a role and more live action, and like Astonishing Studios man versus machine, that was super creative, and that's super appealing to the general audience. So moving forward in the community, I think we're going to see more of that, and it's going to become more mainstream to have like live action stuff and to sprinkle in some other elements to make it more digestible to the average viewer. I'd say the machines, maybe they've reached a peak, maybe not. There'll always be more innovation, but I think what we're really going to see is the format of the videos is going to change as the community evolves and grows.
All right. Well, I think that is it for the podcast. Thank you so much, Collin, also known as Amazing Creations, for joining in this episode. It was a fun time talking to you, and we will move on to our next people and our next podcast. So see you later.
Yeah, thanks for having me.